Boy, I'm going to tell you, times have changed within the last, let's go 25 years, maybe longer. What I'm talking about is this right here, the cell phone. Yeah, boy, have times changed. Guys, that's what this video is about. We're going to break it down. We're going to break down the cell phone and how us as human beings can't live without them. Let's go back 25 years ago. I'm guessing 25 years, no. Let's go back maybe 30 years, okay? 30 years ago. If you want to use the telephone, either you had to go to your landline in your house, pick it up, and use it there, or you had to go to a phone booth. Now, some of you younger viewers, if you're watching me, which I think I draw the older audience, not a problem. I think it's awesome if you're young and you're watching me. That's freaking super. But some of you younger viewers may not even know what a phone booth is. Well, just in case you know what an old phone booth is, if I can find one, it's right there. We actually used to have to go them and use them things. They had to put money in, and you don't know what person used it before you. And you had to hold it up to your ear, and the whole time on the phone, you know, you're in a little square box. You're like, you know. That's how we had to use one. Now, when I first started dating Angie, and before I met Ange, the house I lived in did not have a telephone because the owner of the house, believe it or not, did not want me to ever get a telephone. He did not ever want me to get cable. He didn't want any of that stuff in his house. So for me to use a phone, I had to walk a mile down the road and use a phone booth. Yeah, boy, something like this would have definitely been in handy back then. So there was a time we did not have these, guys. It was a time you did not really need one. It was a time it didn't matter because they didn't even exist and we lived perfectly fine. But how have these things changed us? It's not all for the good, my friends. Let me tell you some of the ways these things have changed us for the bad. Now, for you younger folks that may be watching me, you may not like what I'm about to say this time, but if you think about it, you see I'm probably accurate. Not all young folks do this, but my son, my 17-year-old does. All day long, he's walking around like, and I'd be like, Damien, Damien. He won't hear me. And finally I come up to him, Damien. Oh, what, Dad? He's a zombie. He becomes zombie. As soon as he gets that cell phone in his hand, he becomes a zombie. My wife too. I hate to say it, my wife too. I've seen her many times. We'd be getting out of the truck, be going somewhere, and she'd be like, it isn't just my wife, my daughter. My son Justin don't do it. I don't do it. But so many other people out there do it. You know, these things these things make us zombies. And you know this is coming up, not to mention how many automobile accidents these things have caused. How many times you've seen a person driving down the road with this as they're driving, or like this in front of their face, or like this driving? How many times, guys? I'm going to tell you right now, if I go from here to Walmart and back, and if I was count every person I see with a cell phone, I bet you I'll come back with very high numbers. It doesn't really matter what you use the cell phone for, okay? The cell phone can be used for anything. Games, Facebook, taking pictures, texting. It's taking over our lives. It's making us zombies. It's making us very reliable. And my screen got dirty. See how pathetic I am? My screen gets dirty, I have to rub it off. It's taking over our lives. It's making us become very independent on these. Very independent. But there was a time we didn't even have these. They didn't even exist. Now, you ready for this part? Oh, this is the biggest one I think of all. Well, besides these causing accidents. To have one of these, or in my case, we're on the family plan, you are going to pay through the nose for them. The price to keep one of these and to have one is expensive. My daughter has an iPhone 10. That iPhone 10 cost $1,000. $1,000. Now we're on a family plan, and there goes my dog. When she goes down the steps, you'll probably see the camera shake a little bit. we're on a family plan. I'm going to tell you right now, in order to keep this one, my son Damien, and you know, everybody else, we pay a fortune, a small fortune. Then we ask ourselves, well, we didn't need them 30 years ago. Why we have them now? Well, let me tell you, this is where the independent comes in at. This is where you become, oh God, I gotta have you. I like to say we're addicted to Facebook, which we'll get to that. I like to say these things, but no. Today, I feel as though we need these for emergencies. First of all, I do have a medal on me, which is my bracelet says I have stents, okay? Whenever I go walk, I feel safe if I got my cell phone, in case all of a sudden I need to call 911. Now, my kids have one, my wife has one, in case they're out and about and they need me or need something, they can call. If there's ever an emergency, they can call. And that's one of the main reasons I have the cell phone. Yes, I'm afraid not to. Yeah, I am so codependent on this thing. If I actually get to the place I walk and find out I don't have my cell phone, I would drive back home and get it. And if one of my kids or my wife leaves without a cell phone that day, I get nervous because the umbilical cord is broke. 30 years ago, we had these things we didn't know nothing about them. 30 years ago, we lived our life perfectly fine. We went out and did what we did and not had to worry about a cell phone. But today, try to go throughout your day without your cell phone, folks. Put that sucker down. Put it down. And try to go one day without it. And tell me if you don't have like a hiccup from it. Now, I don't mean a... Let me know, can you go a day without yours? Now, personally, I'll be honest with you. There are some things this thing does I'm very addicted to. One happens to be the weather. The weather, I search the weather up on this all the time. The weather is vital to me. I love the fact I can get the weather in just a couple clicks, because it tells me what the weather's going to be like when I'm out walking. It is vital, and this thing has saved me from getting wet a couple times. And of course, I'll be honest, I'm addicted to Facebook. Yeah. I go to weather and Facebook on this thing more than anything. I don't use the video camera on it, and I rarely take pictures. My wife takes more pictures with my phone than hers. Evidently, this has better pictures. And not to put down, you know, your cell phone people out there, which you know who they are, but they know we're addicted to these. They know we're going to pay whatever price they charge to. No matter what price they put on there, they know we're going to pay it, because technically, some of us can't go without a day without them. Can't go a day without them. No, not one day. But 30 years ago, we did. 30 years ago, we lived our life perfectly fine without the cell phone. Right now, the cell phone has the umbilical cord from you to head. That might be a thumbnail. I might get some kind of cord or something and hook that up, maybe. We'll see. I like to stand here and tell you I'd be the one of them to put mine down for a day and see if I can handle it. But honestly, I'm too scared to walk without it. I'm too scared to get in my truck and drive down the street without this, and afraid I might need it. 30 years ago, this didn't exist. Not one bit. I lived without Big Brother watching me. Because when you have one of these in your hands or in your presence, believe me, somebody knows where you're at. It could be your family member, or it could be, you know, you're followed every place you go. You're wired. That's it. So guys, the cell phone. Can you go without it? Saddens me to say I can't. But 30 years ago, we did not have them. Alright guys, don't know what brought this video to mind today. It just hit me when I was walking. I thought I'd make a good video on it. And it's true. It is very true. And for you younger folks, it was a time we didn't have these. It was a time we had to entertain ourselves. Yeah. And one of the things people use these things more than anything, and especially my wife, it's the games. And so does my son Damien. He also watches videos on his too. My wife uses hers 99% of the time for games. The 1% is Facebook. That's it right now. That's all I got. Leave me comments. Let me know how addicted are you to your cell phone. You can even tell me what kind of cell phone you got too. It'd be kind of cool. I don't have an iPhone. My daughter does. I will admit the iPhone's very cool, but I'm Android. So in some ways I like my Android way better than I do her iPhone, but her iPhone is pretty bad, pretty big stuff. Until next time, come on! Let's get out of here!